Your next news comes your way at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I got to say, I'm a little suspect about our next guest because I watched the show The Americans.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little suspicious of husband and wife spy teams.
Oh.
It could be a sleeper cell.
I just watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, okay.
Those were
All right,
assassins.
but that's
not a spy team.
Yeah, that's also
Go on.
That's
yes.
also Drek. I'm talking about The Americans, which was a good show. License to Parent is a book by Christina Hillsburg with her husband Ryan Hillsburg. They're both former CIA agents.
Oh my gosh.
And I just want to make sure that we're not like suborning treasonous activity. Like we're not going to be investigated by Bob Mueller for sedition by having Christina on the show. So let's see what she has to say about her, how her career as a spy helped her raise resourceful, self-sufficient kids, and see if it sounds communistic at all to you.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Christina Hillsburg, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. So your time as a CIA agent, and your husband, CIA agent as well, retired, former, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So give us the key takeaway that mere civilians wouldn't think could apply to parenting that the CIA experience gives you the insight to affect.
Absolutely. CIA License to Parent is part memoir, part parenting guide, and it tells the story of my career at the CIA and how I met my husband, who, like you said, was also a CIA spy, and my journey into parenthood. And instead of becoming the anxious helicopter parent that I always thought I would be, and like is so common these days, I use CIA principles to give my kids more freedom than I ever expected. And so throughout the book, my husband Ryan and I share how we use these techniques with our now 5 kids, and we give practical takeaways along the way.
Well, it must have been difficult. I mean, because you started raising 3 of his children from his first marriage and then later 2 of your own together. Was that difficult?
That's right. You know, he was already parenting when I met him, and really that's the genesis of this book. I was so fascinated by the way that he was parenting his 3 kids that he was finding a way to adapt these 2 parts of my life that had once seemed so different. You know, he was adapting these CIA techniques and skills in simple, straightforward ways. Because at the end of the day, we want our kids to be prepared to take on whatever life throws at them, and that's what the CIA does for its officers. So we're giving them these skills for life. So
in addition to waterboarding your kids to keep them in line, what else did you learn at CIA that's applicable?
We talk about some of the more physical skills that you would think of when you think of CIA, you know, not waterboarding, but
yeah, Dan.
things like how to spot and avoid danger, how to be prepared for emergency scenarios. But we also talk about a lot of the softer skills that you often don't think of when you're looking at, you know, watching a Hollywood film about espionage. It's about communication. It's about writing. You know, a lot of people don't realize that one of a spy's most prized traits is their ability to write well. And these skills that we can give our kids to help them be excellent communicators is going to set them up for success in life.
Does it help, though, that mom and dad can just whisper in the kids' ears and say, you know, mommy and daddy have licenses to kill? Just remember that. Does that help at all?
You know, it's funny. People assume, you know, we get a lot, well, you guys were spies, so you must spy on your kids, right? You know, can you help me do this with my kids' phones? But we actually advocate for more autonomy and less surveillance, which I think comes as a surprise to a lot of people.
Well, I know a couple who they put a hidden camera in their daughter's bedroom because they thought she was doing drugs. And I think that is such an invasion of her privacy.
Absolutely,
so
I would agree.
With parenting tips, we don't want to do that, correct?
That's right. We want to give our kids opportunities for autonomy so that, one, they can build confidence, and two, you can build trust with them. And when you have a relationship of trust with your kids, you're going to have more of an ability to guide them and set them up for life. And so we talk a lot in the book about how the CIA builds trust and loyalty with their intelligence assets, and how we use that same skill set to build trust with our kids and teach our kids to build trust and positive relationships with others.
Well, so you mentioned about being able to spot situations, understand your surroundings. I mean, what just develop that a little bit more in terms of what kids as they get a little bit older can do, just to make sure that their mom and dad don't need to helicopter them because they're aware of what's going on and they're acting in an intelligent way.
Sure. It all comes back to this principle that we learn in CIA training called Get Off the X. And it's about finding danger, and danger can be a person, a place, a thing, an environment, and it's about moving away from it as quickly as possible. And so that is the main concept that we emphasize with our kids. And so the ways that we discuss it practically is teaching them to listen to their gut, going against that curious feeling when you see something up ahead and you want to get closer, listening to your gut and doing the opposite, right? We talk about not freezing in a scenario, and a way to make sure that you don't do that is to visualize, if you had to get out of here, where are the exits? Having that escape plan in your mind. And then also listening to alarms and warning signals. Data shows that during 9/11, a large percentage of survivors actually delayed their evacuation to do things like shut down their computers, change their shoes. And so we want our kids to treat all alarms and warning signals as the real thing and move as quickly as possible. And then lastly, one that I think is not really intuitive for a lot of parents is teaching our kids that it's okay to ignore authority figures if necessary. And in the book, we talk about the South Korean ferry disaster and about how, most of the people who perished were young kids because the voice of authority over the intercom told them to stay put. And had they not stayed put, they may have survived. And so we want our kids to be able to think critically in those situations to move away from danger.
Have you thought about writing a follow-up book, Parenting During a Pandemic?
Yeah, I think everybody's thought of writing that book. We've all been in the thick of it, for sure. I do talk a little bit about the pandemic in the book. I was writing the manuscript during the pandemic, which is a very interesting time to be writing a book with all 5 of your kids at home.
Oh, I don't know how you did it. But what did you learn, though, as a parent during this whole last 15 months?
I talk in the book about this idea of perfection. And when the pandemic started, there were so many parents that, were dealing with homeschooling. And I remember just kind of scrolling through my social media feed and seeing all these activities people were setting up with their kids. And it's so easy to, look at these curated images on our news feeds and think, oh, this mom has it all together. Look at this perfect activity she's setting up for her kids. And so I had to realize during the pandemic that we're all doing what we need, and we're seeing, what people have chosen to post, and we shouldn't let that intimidate us, and make us not want to try things ourselves. And, that was something that I then decided, I am going to do my little version of homeschool. We do it in our treehouse we call them the bigs and the littles. So I did that for my littles. And I realized that it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough. And we talk about that concept a lot in the book. Perfection is the enemy of good, knowing when good is good enough. And, we're going to have some type of homeschool. It may not look like a perfectly glamorous, Instagram shot, but, it's ours and the kids love it, and we're all just doing the best that we can.
She is Christina Hillsburg, former CIA analyst and author of the book Licensed to Parent, How My Career as a Spy Helped Me Raise Resourceful, Self-Sufficient Kids. Christina, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the book.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 68, and I work 7 days a week, and I always have energy. And I didn't before, so it has to be the Balance of Nature because I haven't switched anything else.
It took about 3 months. I just, all of a sudden, one day I realized how much more energy I have. And at 73, I need energy.
People need to know about this because from my breathing to my energy level, you just wouldn't believe it. I'm a 60-year-old man getting ready to retire, worked midnight to 8 shifts, and I mean, I popped up to go to work like you wouldn't believe. And I hate to sound like a commercial, but it's the real deal.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
We need to talk about that at the other end of the break. MyPillow.com. Go there and find out all the items that Mike Lindell, the founder and creator, is offering. He's got dog beds, body pillows, pajamas now, weighted blankets, which are a really big deal. If you have a hard time going to sleep, try a weighted blanket. I'm telling you, that will knock you